Good afternoon. Welcome to our weekly webinar brought to you by the Emergency Leadership Team. I'm Ruth Jackson, Vice President for Academic Affairs, and as always, I'm joined by my colleagues, Vice President for Operations, Teresa Powell, as well as Dean of Students, Joshua Busby. In today's webinar, we'll provide our weekly COVID-19 status update. We'll review the federal mandate and guidance, as well as the process for adhering to the mandate regarding vaccinations. We'll talk about our upcoming COVID-19 vaccination and testing opportunities. We'll review our residential housing updates. We'll discuss our HERF-3 grant opportunity. We'll pause for any questions that you may have and end, as we always do, by reflecting on resilience. This time I'll pass it over to Dean Busby by our weekly status update. Dean?
Thanks, Dr. Jackson. Good afternoon, everybody. As of noon today, November 8th, see our updates there that our total cases around the state of Oklahoma, it's just over 650,000 out there over the weekend. You see our active cases currently sit at a little under 5,500 and our deaths under 11,000. In Logan County, we're over 6,100 active, total cases, I apologize, and only 162 active cases. And of course, you see the deaths there are at 115. On our Langston campus, all of our Langston campuses, we are holding steady right now at 185 total cases. Over the case of last week, we do not have any new reported new active cases, so we're still holding at 0. And as always, those numbers are a reflection of our cases since the university reopened in July of 2021. At this time, I will turn it over to Vice President Powell to talk about the vaccination federal mandate and updates that we have there for our campus community. VP Powell.
Thank you, Dean, and good afternoon, everyone. We're happy to see that those numbers continue to decline. We're seeing about, on average, an 18 to 19% decrease in those active cases statewide. So we're very encouraged by that. And as we've said before, is a testament to the effect of vaccinations that are ongoing and just our ability to stay safe and keep each other safe. So we appreciate everyone's efforts there. We wanted to share once again an update surrounding the vaccination federal mandate that was rolled out last week system-wide in the Oklahoma A&M system, and statewide for Oklahoma institutions. As we shared last week, Langston University is one of 4 institutions in the state of Oklahoma that is required to comply with this federal mandate. And on Thursday of last week, we actually got an update that the deadline for compliance was extended. So we certainly wanted to bring you that update. We shared messaging with the employees who are affected by this extension and the deadline on Friday of last week, and wanted to touch base today and share that deadline has been extended. So just to refresh everyone's memory on this mandate, it is a federal mandate that was issued by the President of the United States. This is not a Langston University rule, but it is something to which we need to comply because of the federal contracts that we carry with the university. All employees, including full-time employees, part-time employees, adjunct faculty, and student employees, inclusive of both federal work-study student employees and payroll student employees, must comply with the federal mandate. So we have been sharing information and sending emails to those individuals who are affected by this mandate. Certainly, we will share information later in this webinar about how to receive a vaccination if you are still looking to get that on one of our campuses. We can certainly share opportunities there, and we'll do so later in today's webinar. Compliance was recently revised as of Thursday of last week to no longer mean that you must be 2 weeks out from your last shot in the series. At this point in time, the mandate requires that you simply receive your final shot of the vaccination series by the deadline. So if you are receiving the Pfizer vaccine or the Moderna vaccine, that's a 2-shot series. And the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is a 1-shot vaccine. So you would need to receive the final dose of whatever vaccine you're receiving by the deadline, which is now January 4th of 2022. So it has been moved from December 4th to January 4th of 2022. For compliance, we've shared this information via email as well. And if you are employed by the university, you should have received an email directly from MedProctor. And I will share again some information on how to comply with the mandate through MedProctor, which is our partner that we're using to capture the vaccination data required to comply with the federal mandate. So we're asking those employees who are affected to upload proof of full vaccination by January 4th, 2022. The booster shot is not required. It is not part of this mandate, and it certainly is not something that you're required to get prior to January 4th, 2020. We have received several questions about booster shots, specifically from our students, many of which are just receiving their first round of the vaccine. And as a reminder, the booster shot really isn't something you want to consider until at least 6 months from your final dose of the vaccine. So many of our students are not quite ready or eligible for that booster shot just yet. We do anticipate that we will have the Moderna booster shot available after Thanksgiving to those who may be eligible for it. And we are working with our partner Total Wellness to make sure that they have that in stock. So if you are interested and eligible for that booster shot, we can certainly coordinate that for you on a campus of Langston University, or you can seek that out at your local pharmacy, health department. It is being made available. And of course, it's continuing to be subsidized by the federal government, so it's at no cost. Communication has been sent to all of the employees who are affected by this vaccine mandate, instructing them on how to communicate with Student Employee Services should they need an exemption. And it could be one of two exemptions: either a religious exemption, which is an attestation that the employee would need to sign and file with Student Employee Services, or a medical exemption that would require input and documentation from your medical provider or your primary care physician. And as a reminder, we shared this last week as well. If you are uploading your proof of vaccination to MedProctor, it's a fairly simple process. I've done it. And so I was able to sort of test drive it last week, and it's very simple, very easy. And you can simply upload a photo from your phone or from your desktop or laptop computer of your CDC vaccination card. And it's very easy to do. You follow steps 1, 2, 3. And all employees who must comply with this vaccine mandate should have received instructions to do so through their Langston University email address. And once again, as we always do, we like to share the upcoming vaccination opportunities. So far, these are on our Langston campus, but certainly if need arises on the urban campuses, we would be happy to coordinate opportunities on those locations as well, but wanted to share that we will continue to offer vaccinations on Wednesday for the coming weeks. So this reflects the Wednesdays remaining in our semester for students being on campus. So we will be sending the link to make your appointment, likely tomorrow as we've done, but continue to watch your Langston University email account for that information. You'll need to make an appointment, which will ensure that you have an appointment for the first step, which is a COVID-19 test. Our protocol in vaccination is to make sure that whomever is receiving the vaccination is, number one, negative for COVID-19, so that it is safe to administer that vaccine. And then the same appointment will actually get you in for a vaccination as well. We offer routinely the Moderna vaccine, but we have also been able to offer a small supply of the Pfizer vaccine. It's really dependent on what we're able to get from the health department through our partner at Total Wellness, but we have been able to offer a limited supply of the Pfizer vaccine as well. So we will continue to make those both available through all of the dates through the remainder of this semester, and we will reconvene offering these opportunities in the spring as well. With that, I will turn it over to Dean Busby for some updates concerning residential housing.
Thanks, VP. And so really excited to bring some of the updates that we have from residential housing, residential life and housing services. I apologize. The team has been working very hard over the last several weeks to prepare for where we are now. Of course, You all know that for the last few weeks, we've been giving you the updates about our health and safety checks that completed and concluded on last week. And so that information is being compiled relative to any findings and updates that need to go out to the residents in the housing community. So be on the lookout in your Langston email inbox on any updates as it relates to advisements from LU Housing. And so first thing I want to talk about is we're happy to announce that our spring housing application opened up on Friday. We've already had almost 200 applications already for the spring, and we're really, really happy about that. Of course, our students can obtain and access the application on the My Langston. When you log into My Langston, up in to the right, kind of up in top right, there is a link that says housing application. You can click on that and go in to complete that. Also, please understand that you must be enrolled in at least 12 hours for the spring 2022 semester. The system will not allow you to proceed if you are not enrolled in 12 hours. Of course, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact Residential Life and Housing Services there at the number and or email provided. Also wanted to give some information about Thanksgiving break. Of course, the university is observing Thanksgiving break from Monday, November 22nd through Friday, November 26th. Students can, and if they choose to, they can remain in housing during this week. However, it needs to be communicated to your resident director, respective resident director, before the break that you intend to stay and remain. All details regarding that request to remain will be communicated during your hall community meetings that will be hosted on next week between Monday and Wednesday of next week. So be on the lookout for that information as well. There's going to be some additional information given out as it relates to move outs and what that protocol and process will be as well. And so also and want to advise and note that, yes, there will not be any dining services provided during the break from Aladdin. So the last meal that'll be served will be on Friday, November 19th at dinner. And Aladdin will not resume meal service until dinner on the 28th of November. But the university is working with our campus partners and community partners that we will have some meal assistance available for our students that remain on campus. We will be serving meals. There'll be a Thanksgiving Day meal on Thanksgiving that will be served. More information for that will be to come. Our food pantry will be open that week for distribution as well. So any students that want to come over to the food pantry, they'll be able to get some food there, services there as well, receive some services there as well. But more information will be to come. So please be advised that although Aladdin will not be serving meals, there still will be some form of meal service on campus for our students throughout that time that Aladdin will be closed. Okay. And so additional information on that will be forthcoming and provided prior to the break. And I'm sure actually we'll have some more information for the campus community at that time. And with that being said, I will now turn it over to Dr. Jackson to talk about our HERF-3 grant funding plans and to give an update there. Dr. Jackson.
Thank you, Dean. We're excited to share this additional opportunity for our students, the American Rescue Plan, or ARP, for our HERF-3, or the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund. So as we've shared before in previous iterations of these grant opportunities, these funds are available to students who need assistance with any part of their cost of attendance or emergency costs that come up. This could include tuition, food, housing, health care, or child care. So we want to share that we have received over $4 million in aid that is available to be distributed to students. Since the release of the application last week, we've received over 1,000 applications. Students, remember that if you are enrolled in at least one course, it doesn't matter if it's in person or online, whether it's your graduate, professional, or undergraduate student, if you're enrolled in at least one class this semester, you're eligible to apply for the ARP HERF 3 grant fund. The deadline for submission is 11:59 p.m. on this coming Sunday, November 14th. And the goal is to have our award notifications made by the 18th of November. So with that information, we will move into our discussion portion. So if you have questions, please feel free to include them in the chat or use our Q&A function. So I see a question. Question is, when should students see housing prorations for the fall 21 semester? Basically, those who were on standby for their rooms. Dean Busby?
Yes, so any student that's looking to have or receive any prorations will need to reach out directly to LU Housing. They can email luhousing@langston.edu. Again, luhousing@langston.edu. And they can work with the housing team and student and employee services if any proration may be due at that time. Again, so that's for those specific students that may have moved in, who were on the wait list and moved in a little later. They'll need to work directly with housing and student and employee services. So thanks so much for that question.
So we have another question. Should I reapply for the HERF fund if my balance has changed? I'm not sure if that question is from last semester or if it's focused on this semester, but should a student reapply? I will just say this. Since we ask that you only submit one application, it makes it a little bit challenging for the evaluators to review multiple applications. That's why we really want to stress that notifications are going to go out on the 18th. So if you've already applied, we encourage you not to submit multiple applications. In addition, it's important that the correct student ID or campus-wide ID number is included on all applications. Is there anything that CP Powell, Dean Busby, you'd like to add about reapplications for HERF funds should balances change?
No, I think your advice there is good, Dr. Jackson. It's difficult to ensure that we want to be as equitable as possible. Like, there is a committee that reviews these applications, and it certainly does. It becomes a little convoluted when students submit more than one application. We've seen that at every iteration of the HERF grant that we have offered thus far, and it does complicate things a little bit. So we do ask that if we want everyone who is eligible, which should be every enrolled student, to submit an application. So if you are an enrolled student, please, please, please do not miss this opportunity to submit an application. But we do ask that you try to be as accurate as you possibly can with those totals when you do submit your application, so that we can make sure that the committee is considering any and all requests that you may have. And of course, it goes without saying that we can't necessarily meet all of the needs, but certainly want to ensure that we're making those funds go as far as we possibly can.
We have a question. What happens if an employee does not meet the deadline for the vaccination? CP Powell, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, there will be a conversation from the supervisor level to the employee, just really with supportive education information about the federal mandate, what it means, and the implications. Certainly won't it does not mean that you'll be terminated by any means on January 5th. So we don't want anyone thinking that. But there will be a conversation that occurs from the supervisor to the employee, and it could result in corrective action being taken because this is a federal mandate. Again, it's not a Langston University rule. We are following very closely with the Office of Legal Counsel and taking their guidance on how to address any instances of noncompliance. So it will be, we'll be working with them as we approach that deadline to make sure that within the system, within the state system, that those actions are uniform. So don't have a great answer just yet, but there will be a conversation that occurs as the first step. And then should noncompliance persist, we will send some more letters potentially with corrective action, just reminders to make sure that they are in compliance. And then we will work with the employee directly and on an individual level to make sure that we can meet compliance.
I don't see additional questions in the chat or in the Q&A feature, but as always, we'd like to remind you that if you do have questions that come up, you can always email luelt@langston.edu. Again, that's luelt@langston.edu. So we've reached the section of our webinar that we call Reflecting on Resilience. And I'll ask Dean Busby to share this week's topic. Dean?
Thanks, Dr. Jackson. So really excited to talk about our Reflecting on Resilience for this week and our Student Government Association. On October 29th, the Student Government Association from Oklahoma Christian University came to our campus, had reached out. They had been reaching out with President Elijah Weaver for over a month or so to just to come out and to just talk about operations and to tour our campus and the likes there. And so their president, their vice president, and their advisor came out and had lunch with us. I had a great lunch that was catered. The picture you all see there, President Smith came by to greet our guests as well. And they were very thankful for that. They also gave them a tour of the campus and also met with them again, just to have that dialogue about, operations. Of course, Oklahoma Christian University being a private institution, of course, Langston University being a public institution, just to talk about operations and what does it look like? How do you all run your organization? How do you fund your organization? And those questions, and really proud of our Student Government Association as they talked about collaboration and the work that they've been doing and the resilience that they continue to show as they're navigating obviously this new paradigm that is student leadership, right, in this pandemic, in the midst of this global pandemic. So I was really proud of them and proud to host Oklahoma Christian University. They've invited our team to go over and essentially to tour and to do the same thing. And so we're looking forward to having that opportunity to do so. And of course, we've welcomed them back to come to the campus as well. And so I just wanted to shout out our Student Government Association, the leadership under the leadership of President Elijah Weaver, our Vice President Takira Burke, and Activities Coordinator Jasmine Guy, and the work that they're doing in advocating and supporting on behalf of our students. And so that is something that I'm proud to report on this week, and we're continuing to serve as we go forth. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dean. And with that, we've come to the end of our webinar. Please make sure that you monitor your Langston University website, your Langston University email, as well as our YouTube channel. You'll find recordings of this and previous webinars on our YouTube page, as well as shared via email following each webinar. So also monitor your email for the next date of our upcoming webinar. And so until then, remember to take care, Lions. Have a wonderful Monday.